Hi, it's Teddy Smith with you, back here live and in person. I think we're in person with the wonderful performing artist, great recording artist, Mr. Gary Wright. It's a pleasure to see you tonight. Thank you for being part of this sail tour. And Wpat is a station in New York City, as you're probably aware. If you're not, it's a station we're keeping rock and roll alive on AM.
Right.
And playing all of your great music, and not only playing your great music, but getting a little history behind the music. And since you've have been involved with Ringo Starr and the Beatles and all that, what's it been like, for you, even before we get to Ringo for a moment, just on tour? What have you learned, or what have you enjoyed most of that in the last couple of months of what you're doing?
The Sail Tour.
Yes.
It's been a lot of fun because it's a good combination of musicians and music, and it's good songs that all meld together, I think, very well. That's when they do these shows. That's the important thing, is to find out if the chemistry works.
And it seems to be working very well here.
Yeah, it is. It's been really good.
What in the last 6 months or a year have you enjoyed some of the other tours that you've done, or some of the other events, or?
Well, in the last year I've been writing. I'm putting out a book, actually, on Penguin next summer. So I've spent a good part of last year, really, or this year I should say, writing.
What do you like most about writing? Is it an autobiography, or is it a fiction?
It's an autobiography, and it's a lot of it has emphasis on my relationship with George Harrison. We were both involved in a spiritual path, and he was the one who kind of was my mentor. So that's kind of the focus of the book.
When did you first meet George?
I met him when I played in his first album, All Things Must Pass, back in 1970.
Seems like a very spiritual individual. As we were talking about spirituality, what do you consider in your life the word spirituality, when that comes to mind, that word?
Spirituality is really like it's based really on a one-to-one relationship with God, and it's not dealing with dogma and rituals and stuff like that, like a lot of religions are. Not to say that religions are bad; they certainly serve their purpose, but this is just. Yoga is what I practice. I'm a yogi, and I've been a yogi for like 37 years. And so that's using like a scientific technique when you meditate to go into deep, deep states of consciousness, and then you contact the consciousness of God, which normally human beings never have that opportunity. So that's what George and I went into.
Did you ever teach yoga?
No.
You've been a practitioner for a long time.
Yes.
Did you ever study at the Apollo Institute in Massachusetts?
No.
Or just different places around the world?
No, I've just been involved with the Self-Realization Fellowship. That was Paramahansa Yogananda's path that he left behind. And it's worldwide.
Anything you'd like to tell us before we conclude the interview, either about your relationship with George Harrison or that of Ringo Starr?
Oh, they were just wonderful, wonderful people to work with. George was probably the most creative person I've ever known. His whole outlook on life was just super creative. Ringo also, wonderful human being, great drummer, very lovely, generous human being, and I love them both. They're like brothers to me.
What made George Harrison that creative? What sort of gave him that spark?
That was something he must have brought over from another lifetime.
Okay.
I don't think people are born with all of a sudden they just get that. That's something that he worked on in the past to have been that famous. With all that.
I know you're very busy and you have to get moving tonight. Anything you'd like to conclude with tonight that comes to your spirit, mind, body, or soul, or spirit about to leave our interview?
Keep a lookout for my book. It's coming out next summer, 2014. It's going to be called The Dream Weaver.
The Dreamweaver book. We'd love to have you back on the show. We have an author's segment. So when that comes out, I'll have Jim Petrecca, my producer, contact you or your producer or manager and see if we can read the book and hopefully have you on and talk about your book.
You can just contact Penguin or whoever you want, my website. Okay.
How long have you been writing the book?
A little over a year.
It's exciting, isn't it?
That's great.
It's fun, right?
I love it, yeah.
I love your music. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Enjoy it. Gary Wright.